Yo, 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 what it do, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook? We are live. We are back. Another episode of the Blue Stable. I am the moderator, Culture Shock, and I couldn't be here alone. I had to bring my guy with me. My guy, Landon. How we doing tonight, Landon?
Doing fantastic. Another lovely Thursday. It was 75 degrees where I live at today, so finally some warmer weather hitting, get me in the mood for some outdoor activities. And speaking of, I'm going to be heading out a little further east tomorrow, attending the Kentucky Pro Day. One of our friends, Destin Adams, is going to be there along with a few other guys, Nate Atkins of the Indy Star, Zach Kiefer of the Athletic. So I'll be meeting up with some guys and enjoying a lovely pro day.
Hey, man, that sounds exciting. I wish I could join you as well, but so glad you get a chance to go out there and see your boy Will and all the other Colts media friendly guys out there. Shout out to Destin as well and Zach Kiefer and those guys. So I know you're gonna have a good time. Also, you guys, if you don't follow him on social media, feel free to do so because he's gonna keep you posted with everything he sees, especially from the quarterback himself, Will Levis, because Landon's a quarterback guy. He's been watching him for a very long time, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna love watching him up in person.
I am a quarterback guy. So, yeah. But other than that, more importantly, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there, just waiting on some news to drop from the Colts and other sources in general. But, I'm hanging in there. I can't wait for the draft. I'm pretty excited for that. And I'm excited to see what the Colts are going to do next because I'm pretty sure, they're unpredictable, especially with the recent signings we're going to talk about. And, so I've been hanging in. I've been doing pretty well.
Well, good. Love to hear it. There is some news we talked about pre-show that I'm not really at liberty to get into, but let's just say things are getting interesting in the Colts circle, the bubble of Indianapolis. It's getting a little interesting. So I'm curious to see what comes of this. Obviously, I don't like to play the insider game. That's not my stuff, but I did get dropped a breadcrumb earlier. I'm gonna let somebody else break that, but it's exciting, fun, and yeah, I'm ready to get into this show though. We got a lot of cool stuff. I see mics popping in, so we got a lot of stuff
Oh,
to
there you go.
cover on this show today.
Mike, you good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Finally had some technical difficulty, but we good.
All right. How are you doing tonight?
We doing all right, man. We doing all right. It's a little, smooth sailing as of right now, but we feeling good. Just, like Landon said earlier today, let's just get this over with, please.
I did send that in a message. I did send that.
Yes, let's get this over with. But before we say let's get it over with, let's go ahead and talk about the top news for today. And I'm going to start it off with we mentioned quarterbacks, we mentioned Will Levis, but we can't forget our guy Gardner Minshew. I mentioned Gardner Minshew in my GM series a few weeks back, and the Colts, I guess they watched it, and they went out there and got my guy Gardner Minshew. Now, of course, I was on on the top of the clouds when they made this deal because I wanted Gardner like 2 years ago, a year or two ago, and I made a video. I was like Gardner Minshew to Indy question mark, but it was me just throwing it out there in the air, and I would never thought I would see the day that Gardner would actually be in the Indianapolis Colts jersey. I made the TikTok of him saying "Let's go Colts," and he's excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's gonna do. Of course, he's familiar with Shane Steichen already, and he's a pretty good bridge quarterback in my opinion. I think he's one of those guys that worst case scenario, if you got to put a QB in and you get a guy like Gardner Minshew, I'm pretty sure he can probably make some noise. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do next year. Mike, let me get your thoughts about the Colts getting Gardner Minshew.
Well, it means they just at least have a backup plan for 2023. If they go through their draft process and they're sitting at 4 and they stay at 4 and 3 quarterbacks go, top 3 and that 4th quarterback, whoever it is, they feel they don't love him enough to work with his tools or anything and they move on. Hey, at least you got Gardner Minshew for a year. I don't think a playoff berth is coming or anything, but you have a charismatic, great-looking man at quarterback who can sling the ball, who has familiarity in this offense. It's not going to be anything new because I already know. Well, we all know really that being in Philadelphia, Shane Steichen had Gardner run through some things, had some plays installed for him if he ever had to do some spot duty for Jalen Hurts. So the best thing is that there's familiarity in that room, and as long as that's going, whether or not the rookie quarterback is here, worst case scenario, if just it doesn't go our way for whatever reason, then at least you have Gardner Minshew, but you have a guy who can be a starter, or he can just help ease the rookie coming into the NFL. And if the rookie is performing so bad that they just have to bench him, you can still compete with Gardner Minshew.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And Mike, he loves competition in that locker room, no matter what position it is. So I'm pretty sure Gardner can put up a good piece of competition, no matter who we draft. And like I said, he's a good vet. He got years in the game and he's experienced. He plays some good football, so I think he knows a little bit about in and outs, especially when you need a guy that already knows the system. So the rookie that's coming in can get well accustomed to it very fast. Landon, let me get your thoughts on Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a guy that, he does have the familiarity in the Shane Steichen system. He hasn't really performed, at a high level yet. He's more of just like a guy you can, if you need to throw out there, you can. But, I think he's a really good option for a young quarterback to come into a room with, because look, this is a guy that doesn't have very high draft capital. He's had to, work his way through all of his career. Nothing was handed to him. So that's, always good when you have that kind of a work ethic to show a young guy on what it takes to not necessarily succeed in the NFL, because he hasn't seen really much success as a starting quarterback, but as far as how to be an NFL player and how to, command a room and deal with media and learn playbooks and all that kind of stuff, because he has had to do that quite frequently in his short career. So, yeah, I really like it. Obviously, we got jorts, we got pit viper glasses, maybe some aviators. The pregame fits will be outstanding. And I believe he has been training with somebody down there in Florida here over the last few weeks. That could be pretty interesting to see if those two continue to train together here in the near future.
Yes, we could go ahead and talk about it, because I think I know who you're talking about. His name happens to be Anthony Richardson. They've been training together. It got leaked out. Well, it didn't get leaked out. It got posted, and Colts fans just went crazy. They were like, "Oh, this could be the future QB room." Yada yada yada. So, Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew, depth chart QB room for the Indianapolis Colts doesn't sound like a bad idea in my opinion. I love it. Of course, we can do it. We can do it with any quarterback. Like it could be Stroud, it can be Bryce, it could be Levis. It doesn't matter. But it could Gardner and Anthony Richardson just gives you a different type of feel, in my opinion. So I do like that tandem. Mike, when you seen that picture, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, man, this would be a good quarterback room to have. That's really all I thought. The relationship is established already between the two. So, if anything, they're just good friends coming into the NFL. I mean, he's gonna have a reliable and familiar face and voice to lean on. Anthony Richardson, that is, he will have a familiar voice to lean on, in case he needs any advice in this system or whatever when it comes to football in general, because Gardner Minshew once came in as a rookie, started his rookie year, not in the greatest organization. The Colts aren't far from behind the Jaguars, but the Colts are elevating while the Jaguars are elevating at the same time. So Gardner Minshew has played in Jacksonville, where everything was dark and gloomy, and then he was in Philadelphia, where all kinds of winning was taking place, was at the Super Bowl, so he can come in and really help and establish that culture that Shane wants to bring to Indianapolis. So to have that kind of guy there, and I mean, you think Anthony Richardson is already learning so much about Shane Steichen by now? I mean, it's a real possibility. And I'm sure that conversation has been had. I don't know for sure, but I would bet a lot of money that it already has. So that's really what I thought about it. Just a good, reliable voice and a good friend, obviously.
Obviously, yes, I agree. Shout out to the apartment compliments. I appreciate that. Shout out to Destin in the chat. Logan, Sarah, how you guys doing? Landon, you
Man,
already
how
speak.
can I live like you?
You say you're trying to get like me?
Yeah, how can I get like you, man?
Hey, man, I moved to Indy, big dog. You know what I mean? I moved to
Man,
Indy.
Where are you living right now?
Indy.
My goodness.
Landon, you already talked about you. Huh?
I said I'll stay here. My house should be done in the next 2 months, so I'm good here.
Yeah, make sure you make my room so I can go ahead and move in.
Oh yeah, got tank tops right on the bed for you, waiting.
All right, bet. Landon, you already spoke about the picture. What was your thoughts when you seen it though?
Oh, well, I mean, one, I got a little giddy on the inside. My heart fluttered. I was excited. And, I'm the resident big Anthony Richardson fan. I've been pushing that narrative now for a little while. So seeing the Colts quarterback training with the quarterback I want the Colts to draft, it was a dream come true, honestly. And I'm really excited to see and what's cool too is Gardner Minshew, like I said, he hasn't had a ton of success in the league as a starting quarterback, but he's very good at minimizing turnovers. He's very good with his decision making. He doesn't throw a lot. I believe he's only thrown 15 interceptions in his career on almost 600 attempts. So, yeah, I mean, anytime you can get just to soak up that decision making and stuff, and he's been relatively accurate as well as a quarterback. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Anthony Richardson down there training with Colts quarterback one right now. It was cool to see for sure. And I'm sure, like Mike said, I'm sure they have spoken on, Shane Steichen and the offense and some of that stuff. I'm sure there's been some seeds planted down there.
Absolutely. Justin asks, who would throw a better ball to Mac? That's who we should draft. Mac is Mo Alley Cox, for anyone that didn't know that. He also says, Gardner Minshew playing QB in jean shorts. Anything we watched last year. I agree.
I agree.
Jean short Gardner Minshew is a different breed. It's like LeBron with his mask on. So, for sure. But the next signing that we need to talk about is, at the wide receiver room, of course, we lost Paris Campbell to the Giants. But that did not stop the Colts from making the moves. But, it's another topic I want to bring up after this. But the Colts went out and got a wide receiver, Isaiah McKenzie from the Buffalo Bills. And Colts fans should be very familiar with this guy because of the last meetings that we played. We got a chance to see a little bit of him. But he is, he's a flashy. He could be a gadget guy. He could be good on special teams as well. And me being myself, always watching the Buffalo Bills. I've been watching the Bills for a few years, and they've been an experiment. And I've been enjoying the process of how they've started to what they've become now, with the whole Josh Allen experience and just building a team around him. It's been a true beauty.
Taking a quarterback that, wasn't really that great in college, but had all the physical tools and just needed more reps and experience. And then, taking a shot at drafting him and getting ridiculed constantly and stuff like that. And then having it work out and him become an MVP quarterback. I think that was a very, very cool process to watch.
And the fan base didn't ridicule him for not having a good game against Boise State. So they embraced
the fan base did absolutely ridicule the pick. They
ridiculed the pick.
They hated Josh Allen when he was drafted.
But, the Colts could face that same fate. Colts fans could face that same fate. But again, you hate the pick, and then
we're talking about the Bills.
I'm
not talking about the Colts. I'm just talking about the Bills.
I'm saying there's going to be a connect. There's a possibility. There's a connection there.
Yeah, potentially it's a connection. But again, like I said, I've been watching.
We're not going to go down that road. We have all of April. We're still in March. So,
yeah, we got a long ways to go. So we ain't even going to think about that right now. But back to the McKenzie signing. Like I said, I've been watching the Bills for a while. They're one of my favorite teams to watch if I'm not watching the Colts because they're just an exciting football team. And they have really good off seasons as well. So I got to give a credit to them for that type of process. And Isaiah McKenzie coming to the Colts was just, it's a good feeling because you know what he can bring and you know what he can do. He is talented. He is a speed receiver. After losing one and gaining one, I feel like we are not really losing anything at all. So I am excited for this signing. I do see him playing a pretty decent role in Indy for the Colts going into next season. I definitely think you can use him all over the field. You can use him in the red zone package if you happen to have one for him. So I do think he is special, and I do think he could be like a good special teams player as well. Landon, let me get your thoughts on Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah, well, one, I'm excited for wide receiver sweeps. This is wide receiver sweep season. Isaiah McKenzie, let's go. And yeah, I want to say too, I want to preface this by saying I'm really proud of Chris Ballard, first and foremost, for changing and adapting and signing a wide receiver that is 5'8", 170 pounds. I think that shows growth. I think it shows improvement. So yeah, kudos to Chris Ballard for making that happen. But as far as Isaiah McKenzie goes, he's a guy that very limited reps, over there in Buffalo. They haven't really used him to his full extent yet. Now, is that due to, that's tough. Is that due to Isaiah McKenzie just not breaking through and making his presence felt? Or is it due to more the way Buffalo used him? We're going to find out here. But I do think the signing, can pay some dividends, especially on special teams. And just it's nice to always have depth at the wide receiver, speed at the wide receiver. It's just something you need in today's NFL. I think he fits both of those criteria very well.
I agree. I do know a few wide receivers that you mentioned. You said the 5'8" wide receiver thing. I know a few in this draft coming up that that we can go out there and target if we happen to go get one. But I ain't gonna say no names yet. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. But it is. For this question here, I don't know when we're gonna drop this video. But it is in the works. It's in the drafts. But I don't know if it's gonna get released. But we'll think about it. So, Mike, let me get your thoughts about Isaiah McKenzie signing.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if y'all heard that little ping that I got on my laptop, but anyways, with this one, it's a solid signing. I'm not really taking a lot away from it. It's depth, it's competition. Landon says it's jet sweep season. I mean, not only with Isaiah McKenzie, but this guy isn't really highly thought of, but the athleticism of an Ashton Dulin, that athleticism, can we see a little bit of that going forward? We didn't really see him get used a lot with Frank Reich. He was mostly there on passing down. So I'm interested to see that. But Isaiah McKenzie, I'm not, penciling him in as my wide receiver 3. I kind of just put him and Paris in the same category. Like I can't just have it as wide receiver 3, depending on, of course, what your vision is for 2023. Are you trying to compete, or is this like a 2023? Is it a revision year? Is it a rebuild year, an evaluation year? Is that what it is before you go and try to put pieces around your quarterback? With this one, with Isaiah, I don't remember his exact stat line, but I think he had about 400 receiving yards this past season. I think the thing with him in Buffalo was always not necessarily about, with Paris, it was durability, missing a lot of games. Could he be healthy? It's really, production. He suffers from drops. He's had turnovers on special teams, and he's not a good blocker. So, is this just another fast guy who is just going to be a fast guy? And don't get me wrong, you need those on a team. You need fast guys to blow by those safeties. So I'm definitely welcoming this. It'll be a new face. Like I said, I wanted to bring some new faces when I did my GM series. I wanted to bring in new faces, bring new competition, new blood into the building. So, I go and watch Buffalo, and I know you said you watch Buffalo a lot, Marcus. It's weird because outside of Gabe Davis, nobody really established themselves. And like Landon said, is it because of their talent, their inability, or because of how Buffalo used them? So with me, this is a solid signing. I don't think you go into the draft assuming Isaiah McKenzie is your wide receiver 3. I think he needs to be your wide receiver 4 or 5. Let him and Doolin battle that part out. But I still love the idea of getting a guy in the draft. In round 2, this is a really good wide receiver class, especially in the first, second round. So I'm still open for that. But I like the signing. It's good.
Before I get to the next topic, you think there's a chance we can draft Tyler Scott?
I think you could go with a better. No, I'm just kidding. But they're brothers. Okay, they're gonna battle it out anyway. But his teammate Trey Tucker, that'll be a better fit. So you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Tyler, Trey, if y'all are watching, man, we love y'all. Okay, we don't want to start no fights in Florida, but I'm Team Trey Tucker over here. Okay. You can keep your story time. Me and Trey are gonna go eat some German chocolate.
Yeah, I definitely seen him working out on his Instagram story today. But I did want to bring up another thing, and I think Lane was about to go into it when he was talking about Chris Ballard. Chris Ballard he's been shocking a lot of Colts fans this year. He's been making some free agents moves, and of course, a lot of Colts fans call him bargain Ballard, this and that, but he's been going out of the norm this year, so we got to give him a little bit of credit for actually going out there and acquiring some type of talent out of free agency because, he's been on his hands for the last 2 years, I would say, for when it comes to getting some players. But this year, I think he's been a little bit more aggressive and going out of the loop, so I definitely want to give him his credit for going out there and acquiring some talents. Landon, how do you feel about, Ballard's approach to this offseason so far?
Yeah, well, to me, it's honestly not really much different than years past. Like, I don't really think it's anything that is groundbreaking. Like, I mean, he's signed like some depth at, offensive line, or not offensive line, but like the defensive line, the signing a wide receiver there, obviously the big signing for kicker. Like, it's so funny to me, like the first time that he actually ends up signing, like, oh, this is one of the best players in the league at his position, and it's a kicker. Like, I think like that's hilarious to me. Like, I love the troll job there, but it does help the team out immensely. Like, there's been a position of need for years now, and so very rarely do you have somebody that has performed at the level that Gay has performed at over the last few years hit the market. And to secure that, I think that's a big signing as well. So, I mean, yeah, he kind of dipped in a little bit earlier than he normally does, but he wasn't out there handing out, these massive monster contracts. I think it was very measured approach on getting some depth at some key positions.
I mean, I will say I'll come in on that question when it comes to Samson Ebukam. From what I've heard and what I've been told, Samson Ebukam was on his way to Houston. He was close to becoming a Houston Texan. That relationship, with DeMeco Ryans, 2 years in San Francisco, the familiarity is all there. And then Chris Ballard butts in and gives him more guaranteed money. So that's just like, and Chris Ballard's not dumb. He knows what teams are talking to players, and he knows the idea because of talking with the agent. So the agent's not going to keep things secret. They're going to throw out the other team's deal to get them to go higher. So the fact that he did that, especially to a division rival, especially to a division rival who his DC of 2 years is now the head coach in Houston, to get that aggressive, I love it. I love it. I don't know if it's pettiness or Ballard just saying, no, I need this player. I would rather have him back than re-sign Yannick Ngakoue. So I love that attitude. I love it. I love it. Now, what has he done since then? Been sitting on his hands, but corner is still a big need. I know Kenny Moore is looking more and more likely to stay put. I still consider it a big need. You got the offensive line. You got, some what are you going to do at safety? I mean, you got to figure some things out. Swing tackle, wide receiver help, blocking tight end. I mean, do you even consider Mo Cox the blocking tight end after last year? We'll see.
Yes, we definitely will see. A few questions in the chat. Wyatt's Hello, Wyatt. He says, I saw a rumor earlier today that the Colts are interested in Jarvis Landry. What are your thoughts? Landy, you can go ahead and answer this one first.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything on it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I don't really know if he fits what you would be looking for. He's not a guy he's much more of like a possession guy, move the chains guy. Like, and we already have that in the tight end room and in Michael Pittman Jr. Like, Jarvis Landry's not a guy that's going to take you, over the top and take you deep, which I really think is what Shane Steichen values among his players. You saw all the shot plays they took last year in Philadelphia. And I think he doesn't necessarily fit, but if he was to be signed, I wouldn't hate it just because it's another veteran player that has performed at a high level before. He's able to continue to help these young wide receivers grow, like Alec Pierce, and I imagine they draft somebody as well. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate it at all, but I just don't really think it fits with what this team needs.
Yeah, especially when you look at what we have, like what Jarvis Landry has, you can kind of get that out of the guys. Like you mentioned, Michael Pittman Jr. and you said move the chains. I would even say Alec Pierce can move the chains. We've seen the chances when he gets the ball, he goes out there and get
Oh
it,
yeah,
no question. So, I mean, Jarvis Landry, I would love it because I'm an LSU guy, but I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm kind of content with what we got. Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, I mean, last year there was a lot of smoke between the Colts and Jarvis Landry. There was a lot of flirting there, a lot of legitimate smoke. But during that time, the Colts didn't have a quarterback yet. Carson Wentz was on his way out. You were still wanting to see what the market for quarterback was going to look like, and you hadn't gotten Matt Ryan yet. Sorry, excuse me. But the thought there was that you're still trying to compete. So Landon says that, Jarvis may not be the type of player they're looking for. And I support that and I agree with that, but I'm also going to flip it. The Colts are probably not the organization that he's looking for, with the state that they're in. Jarvis needs to go out and compete. He needs to go out and try and get a championship, get with the quarterback and get with an experienced room with some established 1, 2s, and 3s in the room, and go chase a ring. So, as far as that goes, I'm not as plugged in as many other great reporters on Twitter, especially in the Colts world. I'm not as plugged in as they are, but to my knowledge, Jarvis and the Colts have had zero communication.
Yeah, plus I mean, like Jarvis Landry, I think he's going to be 31 this season.
Yeah.
So I think with the moves that you've seen here recently, it really trends on them going younger at multiple positions and kind of embracing where they are right now. So I think Jarvis Landry would be more of a move like, hey, we have our quarterback. We need another steady possession receiver that can put us over the top. And I just don't see the Colts doing that type of move right now.
Yeah. Like if Dallas wanted to go stupid and add Jarvis Landry to that room with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup, that's the kind of move. That's the kind of team, who's trying to buy in. They got the money now. They released Zeke, got more money. So, that's the type of team that Jarvis could be looking for. A guy with an established quarterback. You got playmakers on the defense, obviously. A very up-and-coming player in Micah Parsons who has arrived. Still got DeMarcus Lawrence. He's still playing good football. You got Leighton Vander Esch. And you got the two duos on the outside, Trevon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. So
we don't care about the Cowboys on this podcast.
Hey, I'm just saying why Jarvis would choose Dallas and not the Colts. But yeah, that's just when it comes to that. We don't have to make this a Jarvis Landry whole segment, but
I agree. Next question is wide receiver over corner in round 2. Landon, up to you.
I mean, once you get the quarterback, I think it really is going to be, those are two positions of need, but I think the corner is obviously like the biggest need. And this is such a it's such a deep class. You're going to have a lot of guys on day 2 that, and even like in the 3rd round, which I know the Colts, they don't have a 3rd round pick, but, could there possibly be a trade down from where they're picking to get more draft capital, because this is a very deep corner class. So I could see them, trading out of the spot that they are in. And it really just becomes more of a game of, both these are positions of need. Who's the highest player on our board? And do we think we can get him at this pick as opposed to at, 35, wherever they're picking at 35. And I mean, really, like the wide receivers in this class, like I just don't see that person at like the top of the second round that is going to like put you over the top in this class. Like it's not like years past where we saw guys like T. Higgins and Michael Pittman and those guys go at the top of the second round. Like if those guys were in this draft class, they would probably be first round picks for sure. So, with that being said, there are some corners in this class that, while I don't have many first round grades on them, they are top 50 players for me. So I think I've got like 12 of my top 50 graded players are cornerbacks in this class. So there's a good chance you're able to trade down and get one to maybe two of those guys in the second and third round. So I would even be on board of them double dipping at the cornerback position.
I wouldn't be opposed to it because we do.
Yeah, I love this class.
Yeah. Mike, what's your thoughts on it?
I'm actually curious. With a guy, if he is there, which I assume he will be, a Jalen Hyatt, if it's him and Julius Brents at 35, who are you taking?
I'm trading back.
Trading back?
Yeah, I'm trading back. Which is like such a Chris Ballard answer. But it is, I mean, like, that's just how I feel. Like Jalen Hyatt, like, while I like him and he does provide some straight line speed, like there are some things very similar to like how I view like Hendon Hooker, like with the way that offense is. It's like, you're not gonna get that many free releases where you're able, like, literally, like most of his routes are him just running straight lines, just running straight by guys. Like you're not going to be allowed to do that at the NFL level. So, I mean, it's going to take time for that. And I just don't know if I'm willing to pay the price of a high second round pick for somebody like that. But Julius Prince, like he's a guy too that's been really climbing up boards. But I still I don't see it being a top 35 player. I think he's more in that like 40 to like mid to late 60s type of player. So I think you could trade back, feel better about the value, gain more draft capital. And that's kind of just how I would play it.
And this is a question that's centered around wide receiver and corner. Like the big wild card here, positional wise, is pass rusher. Like, has somebody fallen to 35? Where you
possible. I will say this. I'll say this too. Next year's wide receiver class is much better than this year's.
It's going stupid.
This year's cornerback class, like I said, while it doesn't have that Sauce Gardner or those big time guys at the top of the first round, it is extremely deep with really good players who have tons of physical tools to work with. They're tall, they're fast, they have long arms. I mean, there's multiple guys that fit that role. So I would feel much better about getting a cornerback in this class and then maybe dipping into wide receiver on round 3, round 4, round 5 than I would doing the opposite, or even waiting till next year to get that bona fide stud wide receiver in the first round. That's kind of like how I play it. Maybe,
I would.
Is that a thing? Like,
what
heck of a trio, right?
I'm not opposed to that.
Oh, I'm not opposed to it either. Bring it on.
Alec Pierce, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Pittman,
Tyler Skye,
Michael Pittman, Jr. Alec Pierce, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's get the order right here. Okay,
and Tyler Skye.
Well, look, I'm very comfortable saying that out of like 90% of teams that Marvin Harrison Jr. gets drafted on, he's the wide receiver one. Like the moment he steps onto the field.
Yeah, but the Colts aren't in that 90%.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes.
No, they're not. That's going to be very different after 2023. Okay.
I mean,
we watch our mouths on this podcast about Michael Pittman Jr.
Bro, I love Michael Pittman Jr. But
I was going to say, speaking of Michael Pittman Jr., some people have kind of compared Jalen Hyatt to Michael Pittman Jr. And to me personally, they don't compare because Michael Pittman ran a much more deeper route tree at USC. Like he did so much more creating separation wise with his route running and his just cutting, putting his foot in the ground.
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
No, than Jalen Hyatt.
Oh,
than Jalen Hyatt.
Okay. I thought I was confused for a second here.
I said at the beginning.
What are you watching?
I said at the beginning, there's been comparisons of Jalen Hyatt and Michael Jr.
Yeah,
I didn't say Jalen Hyatt. I apologize. I should have clarified it. But yeah, I'm comparing those two because that's why I brought up the Jalen Hyatt versus Julius Brent's argument because there's people been saying, oh, man, he fits the Michael Pittman Jr. mold. But to me, I'm just like their film aren't really identical in any way possible other than just being tall and tatted. Like that's really it. So Michael Pittman, I mean, did everything at USC. He ran every route and did it very well, caught with his hands, and had a worse quarterback than Jalen Hyatt did. So they're not comparable. I just wanted to ask, but again, to that question, wide receiver, corner, I have no idea. But edge rusher, who is there? Did somebody fall? That's the wild card at 35. I'm for trading back. Don't get me wrong. But if a guy like Felix Anudike-Uzomah or Will McDonald is there, nah, you can forget that trade back, buddy. We get in the pass rushers in this draft.
All right, so another question comes in. Let's hear everyone's top 4 QB rankings. Mike, the floor is yours.
Oh, you would go me first, huh? I would probably – so my top 4 – I mean, I've already gotten my top 4 done. I probably don't even have to go to my notes here, but I'll just do it just in case I forget. So my rankings for the top 4, you said, right? Not just like the top 5 or 10. Okay. So the top 4 is CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis.
Okay. Landon, up to you.
Well, look, everybody, like, we've heard me talk quarterback so much. I want to hear yours. Like, I want to hear who your top 4 quarterbacks.
Mine's is Stroud, of course. I'm gonna go Bryce second. I'm gonna do Will third, and then I'm gonna do Anthony fourth.
Ooh, that's spicy. Going against the grain of the Twitter universe. I
am. They can fight me.
When I support it because again, everybody on Twitter is just like trashing Will Levis while trying to build up Anthony Richardson. Like, it is okay to praise Anthony Richardson while acknowledging there are also great tools in Will Levis. Like, it's not that hard. It's not even a skill you have to have. You just don't have to be condescending to one prospect to build up another. Like, again, even in our chat, people are saying, oh, so-and-so should take Will Levis so we can have them. Why can't they take that person and we have Will Levis? Like, can you imagine? I don't think it's likely personally, but can you imagine if Will Levis is the name that is called at number 4? The meltdown on Twitter.
He said it's going to sound like Porzingis when he got drafted by the Knicks.
Bro, yes. I'm here for it because I'm bookmarking every single tweet. And then Will Levis comes back, wins Rookie of the Year, and now everybody is on his train. And I'm going to let him know, hey, no, you don't get to be on his train. Remember you said this?
Oh, no. We're not going to gatekeep, Mike. We're not gatekeeping.
No, we're gatekeeping this thing. Only because of how far people take it. They say there is a monumental gap between Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. No, there is not. There is a small millicule space of those two in reality. Because again, Twitter says one thing about Will Levis, but then you notice how
he puts mayonnaise in his coffee. That's what they say.
Yeah, the teams don't come out and say that about Will Levis. There are teams that have Will Levis as quarterback 2. So I don't know. Like, I'm just ready. Part of me is hoping Will Levis is it because the meltdown on Twitter is going to be fine, but then that also means there's a chance that we'll stay in quarterback purgatory. So I'm kind of 50-50.
Well, there's that chance with everybody. All
Yeah,
the four
always.
quarterbacks have a chance. But as far as my rankings go, Anthony Richardson 1. That's who I'm going for. That's who I'm taking. Then I would have C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young at 3, Will Levis at 4.
Hold on now.
That's definitely shocked me.
Hold on.
But I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at conversation. We need to have it. I thought we were about to move on to something else, but no, we're going to be here all night. You have Anthony Richardson. I mean, I respect it. It's definitely different. It's different. So just as of right now, I take it as half of it is where they are now, and half of it is at their ceiling where they can be.
Well, no, none of it's really where they are now. I'm not drafting a quarterback for where they are now. I'm drafting them for where they'll be in 3 years in the future, to 10, 15 years, hopefully in the future. If you are making not just quarterbacks, if you're making any draft pick for 2023 reasons, you are not doing your job. You are not doing your job correctly. This draft, and I've been on record saying it a million times, this draft is much more about 2025 than it is about 2023. And to me, and it is okay. So even if we want to go 2023, which I don't know if Richardson starts beginning of the year, I probably wouldn't do that. I would kind of bring him along slowly, let him get a better feel for everything. Maybe, week 10 or the bye week, whenever the bye week is, I would insert him in, after that. But I mean, physical freak, manipulates defenses with his eyes, extremely smart, extremely hardworking, is coachable, loves to work. We saw real-time improvement throughout the season. Huge arm, natural thrower of the football. Like, can somebody explain to me how this guy basically is being labeled as this risky, he's gonna bust. I just don't see a path forward for him to at least not have some success, even if it's just using his legs and the way Justin Fields was last year. I think that's Anthony Richardson at his lowest, is what Justin Fields was last season. So I don't see the bust potential and the rawness that everybody else sees, because I'm just able to put things in context, but 2, the game film just shows so many smart, I'm talking about pure pocket passing traits that he has as a pure quarterback. And then, yeah, you add in the fact that he's the most athletic testing quarterback in NFL history on top of that. So, I just don't see the path forward that everybody's like, oh, well, he's raw and he's going to be a bust and all he can do is run. It's one, if you're saying that, you're not watching the film. And if you have watched the film and you're still saying that, then you don't know how to watch film. So that's just that's my thing on it. So I don't really understand why it's just such a huge shock to some people that to me, because yeah, you can talk about the ceiling. Yeah, obviously the ceiling's massive, but I don't think there's this floor that's just oh, well, he's got the lowest floor of everybody, but the highest ceiling. I think his floor is extremely high as well. We know in 2023, in today's NFL, that movement with the quarterback position, whether it's quarterback draws, quarterback runs, their ability to create and to scramble, to avoid sacks, playing in a +1 quarterback type of scheme or something where you always have that threat, it opens up so much more as a passer, and it makes the reads easier. It makes the routes easier on your receivers. Everything's a little bit more wide open than it would be if you were just a pure pocket guy. So, and then say those routes aren't available. Can you just go make something happen? Yeah, he can probably better than any other quarterback in this class. So, I mean, that's just like how I feel about it. So, y'all want to?
I don't think you were wrong about anything you said, especially you're completely justified when people come out and say he's just going to be a bust. I've said he has the highest bust potential, and I stand by that.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
When you really think about it, all these guys can be a bust. They all can. They all can. Like, look at Zach Wilson. The Colts fans wanted him, and everybody praised him. I was never on his train. I didn't see leadership skills. I didn't see anything. And look at where he is now. His whole team wants him gone. And then
that's what I'm saying though with Anthony Richardson though, is like you see that stuff.
You don't hear you hear all about leadership. I feel with a guy like Zach Wilson, people created the leadership narrative as to where with Anthony Richardson, when you listen to interviews and especially his former coaches at Florida, unprompted, they talk about Anthony Richardson's leadership.
Yeah, and they said like that was his biggest area of growth is because he is so reserved and like he's not just this natural like rah like in your face guy, but he's a guy that kind of like wants to lead by example.
Yeah,
but it's something that he really progressed on this last year was being able to pull guys, you know, to the side and saying like, hey, like you messed up. This is what I need from you. So like, yeah, like you have that stuff and you have the intelligence, you have the ability, like the pocket awareness, and I mean, just like so many other little things that don't show up in the stat sheet. And so like I don't understand this whole thing of like I just don't see a way he like that he's not a bust or like he has a low floor or like I mean I guess you can point to accuracy if that's what you really want to go for, and then I can completely dismantle that too.
You can work on that. I mean, no one is killing. If you're going to kill Anthony Richardson if he doesn't play well his rookie year, I mean, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Are we just going to go ahead and cut him from the team when he has 4 years left on his contract and just say, okay, let's go to the next one? Caleb Williams, let's go get you. Nah, that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, anyone could make an argument why anyone can be number one in this class. Again, like Chris Ballard said,
for all four of these guys.
Yes. And there are pros, there are cons, and it is just up to the organization that takes these guys. Does the coaching staff feel that they have enough good pros, more than cons, where they can build this guy up into a all-pro type of quarterback, or at least a Pro Bowl type of quarterback? That's really what it comes down to, because does the prospect fail or does the coaching staff fail? It really kind of goes both ways when you get into the NFL. So with any of these guys, none of them have played NFL defenses. It wouldn't surprise me if Anthony Richardson or any of these guys, for one, had really good rookie years, because, again, DCs don't have film on them. So that's why you always see, okay, what's it like in year 2, year 3? We're never going to know about Anthony Richardson until his third year. Really, we're not going to know,
or any of the draft picks.
Yes, any of them. Like Kwity Paye, people thought he was underwhelming his rookie year. He was kind of underwhelming this last year. Like Kwity Paye, I think is going to have a huge year this year, and he played really well this past year. Like, no, he didn't have as much sacks as people wanted, but who gives a crap about sacks when you're consistently rushing the passer, forcing quick throws that lead to incompletions, and defending the run? Like, that's just a guy in his second year showing improvement, getting better. And as a fan base, we shouldn't attack these quarterbacks because they had a bad game against Buffalo or Cincinnati. Like Ballard said, there isn't a Joe, or they believe there is not a Joe Burrow or a Trevor Lawrence in this class. But damn, one could definitely rise up to that level.
Yeah, but even then, like even with those two guys, look at their rookie years.
Yeah.
One of them got hurt and was out the whole season. The other one threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns.
Trevor Lawrence was the worst quarterback in the league his rookie year. So
which I mean, I don't know. This year is kind of his rookie year to me. I don't count Urban Meyer.
Yeah, when you get a true NFL head coach puts in true morals and everything. Well, not necessarily morals, but
oh no, morals is definitely a part of it.
Okay. I didn't want to throw shots because I know some people are Ohio State fans, but yes, morals.
There's one thing Urban Meyer does love. It is shots.
Yes.
Bars,
Urban Meyer loves special team players too.
Yes, like this, I agree with you. This was Trevor Lawrence, kind of like with Dio Dangbo. I consider this his rookie year. Same thing goes for Trevor Lawrence. So you get a real head coach, real winning experience, real quarterback development experience, and it works out for you. So in this class, hey, man, if you got Anthony Richardson 1, there's a case for it. If you got Will Levis 1, as much as Colts fans don't want to hear it,
there's a case for it.
There's a case. Like, that's why I keep saying I would be happy with any of these 4. And then you go on Twitter. Oh, my God.
Look, put up Wyatt's post right down there. Put that up.
Oh, my gosh. Let's see this.
Exactly.
It says AR with JT and young receivers could be a cause for defensive coordinators to have.
That's terrifying.
I have a PTSD when it comes to athletic quarterbacks because we all know why, right? I love the fact
I don't know why. I'm curious.
Wait, you don't want Lamar Jackson?
No, Andrew Luck. Because he wouldn't slide. He would always go head first, put the shoulder down, never go down. And sometimes it cost him. And obviously the other half was because Ryan Grigson didn't know how to build an offensive line. And he inherited Anthony Costanzo. So with Anthony Richardson, I love the fact that he's going to come in and use his legs. But as long as he can do it smartly.
Here's the
Lamar Jackson, he'll take hits. Guys will take hits. And yes, that looks good when you're 22, 23, 24. But look at Cam Newton. He's 32 years old. He was the MVP of this league, and he tested well. He tested great. He was a monumental man. And he's 32 years old, and nobody wants him. Really, his decline started at 29 because he just never knew how to slide. He would always go bang for bang with linebackers, with safeties, and they piled up on his body. I don't want that for any of these guys, especially. But if it comes to Anthony Richardson, even though you are huge, you got shoulders that are bigger than my head, and I have a big head. Like, this dude is a monster. Don't take that as, okay, I'm gonna put my shoulder down and I'm gonna run your ass over. Maybe in the playoffs.
See, he hardly ever really did that in college. There were actually plays like this is what people need to understand too, is like he wants to be a pocket pat, like he wants to play in the pocket and be a pure quarterback that just so happens to run, as opposed to being a runner playing quarterback. Like,
and his film shows that he could have ran so many times, and
he's very good about it. Like, he's getting out of bounds, he gets down, like he doesn't really, like, the only time you ever really see him try to run through people is at the goal line whenever there's a chance to score touchdowns.
Yeah,
outside of that, like, he's very good at, you know, getting away from trouble and avoiding hits and avoiding sacks and kind of like getting out of bounds or going down, you know. So I mean, and then like I just kind of said, I mean, he's a guy that, like, he wants to play and beat you from the pocket. And if you can develop that, like, there were times even last year where, like, I would be watching the game and I'd be like, run, and he wouldn't run. He would just hang in there and make a throw. And whether that was, you know, on target or off target, you know, I mean, but he would hang in there and try to beat you from the pocket whenever he had a clear lane. And I was just being like, dude, like, go, like, I mean, run. So, you know, I'll be curious to see, but I mean, I do think there'll be like few and far between as far as like quarterback design runs that are just running him like straight into defensive linemen. Like, I don't, outside of like quarterback sneaks with Shane Steichen, because we know quarterback sneaks are a big part of the offense. Can you imagine quarterback sneaks with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson in the backfield? Who's stopping that on 4th and 1?
Nobody, probably, most likely. Like, even that, what was it? The first game of the year, the Rams and the Bills. Remember, Josh Allen just kept running, and they were designed runs. And like, you're gonna get somebody killed if you. I mean, of course, it was a one game, but that could have did some damage for the Bills. All it takes is just one hit.
Yeah, it could, but
Yeah, but
I would say
what?
that the
So,
rules are a
what
little bit
play?
different too.
Yeah, what? Where did Josh Allen get hurt?
Where?
In the pocket. He
Mm-hmm.
was standing in the pocket making a throw when he got hurt. So I mean, it could happen to any quarterback on any
Yep.
play, but I would much rather have a defense that's, like I said, that they're just absolutely terrified of that ability. And then once, like, I mean, it just opens up so much more of your offense and what you're able to do, and especially in the red zone packages. Like, I mean, it's just so dangerous. And to me, like having that threat, and I'm not drafting Anthony Richardson for 2023. I'm not. I'm not doing his evaluation for 2023. I'm looking at 2025 and
Yep.
what he can
And
look
beyond.
like then.
Yep.
I would
Exactly.
say watching the Colts, I think mobility is one thing I would want. So if we would get Anthony Richardson, I would be a fan of it. We have so many standing statues in that pocket of watching Colts football. There's no way a fan will be opposed of drafting anybody that is mobile. Like it's no way. Like I would love to have any of these quarterbacks as a QB because
Yeah, and
it's time. It's just time
Will
for it.
Levis is a mobile guy too. Like
Right.
Yeah.
his
We've seen it.
mobility
We
is
watched the
so
film.
yeah, his mobility is so slept on because of last
The
year
dude
whenever
got wheels.
because he was injured.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, go back and look at 2021 whenever he didn't have a foot injury. And I mean, the dude was literally hurdling defender. Like
Yeah.
he's very athletic. So I'm really hoping tomorrow he actually tests, as opposed
Yeah.
I know CJ Stroud didn't run. I don't know if it's because, he's scared of competition or anything.
Oh.
Bryce Young didn't weigh in today, for obvious reasons. I don't know. It's because, he's scared, but I'm curious.
I think that was more. I think that was more his agents. Their agents.
I'm just messing. I don't like. Please, yeah. I know how somebody's gonna clip that and be like, when Oliver says CJ scared of competition.
Can you imagine if CJ Stroud gets drafted and then the Blue State was gonna push that thing like, hey, this is what this guy said.
Yeah. Wow.
I just want to say I didn't miss that run. It was the slowest 25 yards I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, I think we all watched it. Matt Ryan was
what was it that was playing? Was it like
the Raiders?
Chariots of Fire was playing behind him?
He ran for his life, but he wasn't going far. They just let him run.
The way that man was striding, I thought a hamstring was about to tear. Like, golly. And that was coming too.
Right. We all seen it. It was just like, okay. He ain't doing no more, I tell you that much. He said, I always want to keep the defense guessing, and you do that with a quarterback like AR. JT and AR is as scary as it is. I believe Stairway to Heaven was playing.
Oh, Stairway to Heaven. That is such.
No, it wasn't there. It's got to be Chariots on Fire.
He said, I miss arguing defensive prospects with Mike. I'm glad to hear he's big on my boy McDonald too, though.
I like Will McDonald.
Oh, he threw out the my boy. I'm like, okay. Well, I already claimed Felix Onudike Uzama, another fellow Big 12 pass rusher. So yeah, Will McDonald, man, that dude is long.
Could be an option at 35.
Yeah. Do we think the Cardinals will stay put at 3, or the team will trade with them?
I
think they stay
put to trade though, outside of maybe the Raiders and Tennessee, and is Arizona willing to trade that far back?
I think they stay put.
Why hasn't Nick Foles been released?
I think Arizona stays put. I don't like it. Las Vegas and Tennessee. Like, you're gonna lose out on Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, and Tyree Wilson. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And they need pass rush. They need front seven help. So it doesn't make sense for them to move that far back.
Yeah. There's probably a good chance Nick Foles is likely retiring. So that's probably what they're waiting on, is for him to make the decision on whether he's retiring or not. Or, that way, if he does retire, it's completely cleared off the books. There's no dead cap. There's nothing like that. So that would be a big favor to Indianapolis that he doesn't really have to do. But
So I like if Ballard signs Shaquille Griffin, get him back with Gus. What do you guys think about Shaquille Griffin?
Might be a good signing.
That would be a really good signing. That would be a really good signing.
I seen a Hinder Hooker quote in here, but I kind of like skipped over it.
Yeah, keep skipping it.
Yeah, talking Hendon Hooker. No,
we're not. I'm sorry, Eric, but no, we're not. Yeah, he was turning it up in Mobile for sure, for sure.
That he was.
In all airing.
Yeah, guard is my second need, right behind QB in the draft.
Oh, guard, really? Number 2. Okay. I agree with it. And that's one thing. Like, again, I'm not that plugged in at all. I'm not even reliable. I just don't know what the holdup is on getting a swing tackle, guard competition, or anything like that. I don't know what the holdup on all of that is. I mean, you need bodies on the offensive line. You know, I think you tried out the Will Fries thing. Does the new offensive line coach, does he like Will Fries? Is he telling Chris Ballard, hey, I like Will Fries, I can coach him up more, and you know, I'm better than Chris Strasser or whatever? But offensive line, I want to see some activity there. No, not Matt Pryor, just for anybody in the comments. Or you too, Destin.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't mention Matt Pryor.
I knew Matt Pryor comment was coming.
Nah, we mentioned it earlier, but that was about it. And that was like the honorary video of Matt Pryor that we don't have. If you guys have any more questions, we're about to wrap up. Feel free to let us know now. But we appreciate each and every one that tuned in on all platforms. Twitter, I was in Twitter engaged with you guys while they were talking, so I appreciate all the Twitter responses. Facebook, appreciate that. Appreciate you guys on YouTube as well. But if you guys have any last thoughts before we... Oh, free agents. If we can get one, who would you want, Mike? That you can think
who's left?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I really like the idea of this. It's not happening. They're not being considered. It would never happen. But I mentioned it to you guys yesterday. Or no, I think it was today. The idea of Ezekiel Elliott joining Jonathan Taylor and Zeke being a passing running back, I like it. But again, it's not happening. He wants to chase a contender. But, man, free agency. I just want to add more through the draft. It's just like free agency. Other than offensive line, I'll say this. On offensive line, man, right guard. I think I would have to go if there's one. I'm going to stick with Isaiah Oliver. I don't think he's signed anywhere. I haven't seen that he's signed anywhere. No?
I believe he is signed.
He is?
Yeah.
Hey, have y'all seen DJ Fluker?
49ers.
49er? Oh, dang, that's a good landing spot. Never mind. Shaquille Griffin then. Shaquille Griffin.
Y'all seen that DJ Fluker video? How ripped he is now? The former offensive lineman?
That dude is massive.
He's massive.
Dude is huge. Goliath.
You said Elijah Wilkinson? Not mad at that. Wyatt says Zeke's done. I think we all can agree to that. Back to Cabo, Zeke. Back to Cabo. Yeah. But yeah, who would you want, Landon, if you can think of a free agent?
Oh gosh. That's tough.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
I just went corner.
I'm curious about Miles Jack, honestly. Ooh. I'm curious. As like a
Colts fans know about him very well.
Yeah, like
as long as it stays
cover linebacker just for
curiosity
purposes. But I mean that's a linebacker. As far as like positions of need that I would like to see them hit. Gosh, well, probably Shaquille Griffin would probably be the guy.
I'll take Rock Ya-Sin since nobody said it, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I like Rock. I just don't think he's coming back.
Hey, man, where's the positivity?
I was never convinced that he was coming back, man. I was never convinced he was.
You know what? Here.
What would you sign him to, though? I mean,
it doesn't matter.
He had a rock solid, no pun intended. He had a rock solid season in Las Vegas. So, I mean, you're not going to sign him to a 1-year deal, are you?
What about Dalton? Is like Dalton Reisner? Is he still out there?
Like, I think he got signed.
That could be an interesting name. No,
I think
He's still available.
He is?
He is still available.
That's another Dalton Reisner, the former Kansas State Wildcat. That's interesting. That's another good one.
Donovan Smith still out there. Could be an interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's your swing guy. Come on, let's get it.
Yeah, that could be an interesting.
Pryor still out there.
There you go. Man, shut up.
Isaac Rochelle still out there.
Marcus.
That's Mike's favorite guy.
Marcus. These fans all remember the arguments myself and Destin had over one Isaac Rochelle, okay? I don't want to hear that name anymore. I don't. I really don't.
That really brought it to my eye.
But no. We don't have to keep bringing up Matt Pryor, okay? We don't have to keep bringing up. Let's trying to get the people to forget about that whole 3-month span, or maybe not even 6-month span. So, bro, just forget about it.
Yes, sign Rochelle and Pryor to lifetime contracts today. I agree. Let's get it done. Let's get it done, Colts fans, so Mike can go bald by the end of the season.
Oh, what? The cafeteria?
Levante David available?
Oh, he is?
He's still available, yeah.
I like Levante David, even though he's up there with age, but he's still pretty good.
Linebacker. We can just draft one.
Could Marcus Peters reunite with Chris Ballard? Chris Ballard.
Ooh, that's a nice one, but I just don't see it.
Wait, who you say?
Marcus Peters.
Oh yeah. That'd be a crazy locker room with Peters in it, wouldn't it?
Good. Oh my gosh. God bless.
Seeing Michael Pittman Jr. fighting last year.
God bless those reporters if they ask him off script, ask him anything off script.
That'd be great.
That'll be a massacre. That's what it would be.
I would enjoy. He is a good football player, though.
He is. He's solid.
Like press related stuff, maybe not, but
entertaining.
He's a good football player.
Man, who all misses the Richard Sherman days with the media, bro?
Something else.
I love that man. So freaking intelligent.
Yeah, but his game towards the end of his career was just like,
man,
burnt toast.
It was getting tough, man.
Yeah, he was burnt toast at the end.
It was getting not even butter on the burnt toast. Just burnt.
You know how they slandered old boy from Cincinnati? That's how Sherman was.
What? My goodness. They didn't slander him that bad.
Well, I did.
It is almost a religion now. When January comes around, everybody slanders Eli Apple. That is almost a religion now. Hate Eli Apple month, like the month of January.
They're going to make it a day.
They're going to make it
a holiday.
What if a national holiday? That's interesting, but yeah, I'm curious to see where the rest of this roster goes. I'm really curious. I think it was put out today by I don't know by who. I think it was Tom Pelissero. The remaining cap space of all teams, and Indy has 20, so they need about $7 million for the draft class. So in reality, they really have 13. So what are they going to do with that 13? I'm curious to see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see too.
And Yannick Ngakoue is still out there, right?
Yep.
He is.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Hopefully, some news will come out tomorrow or the day after, so I can do something. But you guys stay put with that. We'll be back for sure next Thursday. You guys tune in. So we appreciate all the support. This is Culture Shock. That's Landon at the bottom, Mike on the side. You guys follow us on all platforms. We'll be back, and hopefully, the Colts make another splash. But until then, we are out.
See you guys.